Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. And in today's video, I'll be doing a 2024 election prediction between Donald Trump and Gretchen Whitmer. I'm going to talk real quick, and I'm just going to label the safe states while I do, and maybe the likely states if I get to it. But I was commented, I believe, to do a prediction. It might have been an election night. I'm not fully certain. For Gretchen Whitmer, for Kamala Harris and Ron DeSantis. This is maybe the most likely scenario, but I've already actually done one of these. But my prediction hasn't really changed much. There haven't been any flips. The only changes have been that Michigan and Georgia both moved to solidified tilt D as opposed to left leaning tilt states. Arizona moves from being tilt D to a left leaning toss up, and then Pennsylvania moves from being likely R to a right leaning toss up. Okay, so for all the likely states, by the way, the Hawks just lost to the Bucks in game 2, so now it's 1-1, but we're heading home next game. So yeah, like I had the I guess post match show in the background. So yeah, hopefully we can win. But anyways, back to politics, not basketball. In New Mexico, I see Whitmer being stronger with Hispanic and Latino voters, and I see her being better also for the working class. In Virginia, or at least for like oil workers, in Virginia, I see Whitmer doing better in the suburbs. Trump's doing pretty well with the rural vote, and Whitmer just being average for black voters. New Hampshire, I could actually see Whitmer doing better because I just see her doing pretty well with white rural college educated voters. Fairly similar thing in Maine at large, although it is fairly inelastic. Michigan, obviously she's the governor of Michigan. If you didn't know that, she is the governor of Michigan. But I also see her having fairly strong appeal to the working class. Better than most Democrats, and I feel like that's probably going to be a trend in the Rust Belt. So I do see her probably being better for the working class. Obviously being pretty strong in the suburbs. I feel like she's a fairly decent Democrat in the suburbs, whereas Trump is obviously pretty awful in the suburbs. Minnesota, I see Whitmer once again being strong enough for the working class. Trump's likely states Nebraska's first. He's going to do well enough, he's not going to be able to do well enough with the rural vote. Kansas, once again, I mean, like, I see him probably being still strong for the rural vote, obviously. But, I mean, like, in 2020, he wasn't able to, sorry, my mic just hit my, sweatshirt, I think, but in 2020, he wasn't able to turn out enough rural voters, in the state, and he did, actually, not necessarily even the lack of rural turnout, a lot of it was, his weakness in the suburbs. But I see Whitmer being able to do well enough probably for farmers, like rural farmers. But I especially see her doing well enough in the suburbs, um, particularly Kansas City suburbs. In Indiana, once again I see Whitmer being strong enough for the working class. In South Carolina, Trump's pretty strong for the rural vote, whereas Whitmer's just average for the black vote, so it'll probably shift a little bit to the right and be like R plus 13, maybe R plus 14. Um, and then Alaska, Whitmer's going to do well enough with oil workers, and we're going to see more Native American voters turning out, or at least at higher rates, which will shift the state to the left. So it'll probably be more like 8, maybe 7% margin of victory for Trump. I could see it being 9. I think that carrying it by 10 again is unrealistic, though. It's hard to see what he would have to be able to do it's hard to see what he would have to do to be able to carry it by 10% again, to be able to carry it by double digits again. I believe those are all of the likely states. Oh, Whitmer likely also gets Nebraska's first. She's just going to do better in the suburbs. Then obviously it was likely, but she's going to do better in the suburbs anyways, and probably shifted even more to the left. For lean states, she gets Nevada, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania could be lean. And that is it. Nevada, I just see what I'm being stronger for Hispanic Latino voters. I think that'll probably be pretty inelastic. Be a fairly similar margin of victory. In Wisconsin, I see her being strong enough. Honestly, Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania being the more, liberal of the two. Wisconsin, actually both of them. I see Whitmer being able to do well enough, turning out, black voters in a lot of these bigger cities, and I see her doing pretty well with the working class. I just see Trump getting enough rural turnout. Honestly, they could both, or Pennsylvania at least, probably not Wisconsin, but I could see Pennsylvania being likely, especially with her doing well enough in the suburbs. It'll probably be on the line between being lean and likely. If she were better with black voters, it would probably be likely, and I honestly could see her being pretty strong for the black vote. I don't know that it's realistic to assume that she would be though, but it's a possibility. I think that she would be a strong candidate for the black vote, so it could be likely. There are multiple scenarios in which it could end up being likely, but I do feel like it is more or less a fairly likely scenario that it ends up being likely. Probably like 40-60 split. But it's gonna be close between being lean and likely, and that is it for And Wisconsin's probably still gonna be lean. It's probably gonna have 3 or 4. For Trump's lean states, he gets Texas, Florida, Iowa, Ohio, and Maine second. In Texas, he's gonna do well enough with the rural vote. Whitmer's gonna probably do better in the suburbs and probably do well enough with the Hispanic Latino vote. Florida, she's gonna do probably better in Miami. I'm gonna do better with the Hispanic Latino vote and do pretty well in the suburbs and do decent with older white voters. It'll still probably be like R+1. I could see it being tilt though. In Iowa, sorry, that was a very long yawn. But in Iowa, I see having more populist appeal to a lot of Obama to Trump pivot voters, or I guess voters in pivot counties. A lot of these white rural voters. Probably Trump carrying it by a smaller margin. Ohio, she has enough appeal to the working class. It's probably still gonna be like R+2 or R+3. I don't see her being amazing with black voters, but if she were better, especially also considering her strength in the rural areas, this could end up actually winding down or moving down to tilt, but I doubt it. In Maine second, I see her having enough populist appeal, but Trump will still probably carry it. Or at least in the scenario, for her tilt states, she gets Arizona and Georgia, whereas Trump gets North Carolina. In Arizona, I just see her doing well enough in the traditionally conservative suburbs. I think it'll be narrow, and I don't see her being amazing for the Hispanic Latino vote. But I do see her doing better in the or I do see her doing well enough in the traditionally conservative suburbs against somebody like Trump, or honestly enough of them, or not enough traditional conservatives turning out to the point where it does hurt Trump, just since there's less suburban voters and Hispanic Latino voters, not white, suburban, traditional conservative voters make up a larger portion of the electorate. And then Georgia, Trump's going to do pretty well with the rural vote. I just see her doing well enough in the suburbs. Voting rights efforts, getting enough voters turned out. And her doing well enough in Atlanta, which being average, to the point where she can probably narrowly carry it, but it will be fairly close. North Carolina, Trump's too strong for the rural vote, even though she's going to do well with the working class and in the suburbs. Trump's too strong with the rural vote, and she doesn't have the ability to turn out enough black voters to be able to carry it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like below. Stay tuned for my next video tomorrow. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Please comment your suggestions down below, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.